Shop smart, shop S-smart.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Newbuckhoodis. I am your host, DeathMetalHero, and with me is Rob Hunter. Welcome, sir. How are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I lost you for some reason. I have no idea why. What an intro.
Oh, you totally missed my awesome intro. Technology. It's always fun. Always fun. Yeah.
And it's always different. It's always different. I'm also switching from webcam to iPad, just depending. And every time I try to log on to StreamYard, it's different.
Oh,
and I'm like, why?
It always changes your settings. Whenever I have to reboot my computer, like a hard reboot of my computer, always just completely fries all of my settings. So I have to go back in and reset everything up. But yeah. For those that didn't hear, like Rob,
me.
Welcome to Newbuckhoodis. I'm your host, DeathMetalHero,
cool.
And with me is Rob Hunter. And
hey guys,
today we will be talking Death Raider. But first, let's say hi to the chat. We got Flying Feline. What's going on, beautiful? Thank you for coming. Skull.
I've got a drink too. Nice.
Even though I've got iced coffee today. So we got Frog G in the chat, popping the link. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Oh, it's awesome. He was on a live stream I was watching, or I was on just recently.
Yeah,
he's a super nice guy.
Frog G is everywhere. He is the link slinger extraordinaire, and also the star of a comic book of his own now, Frog G, done by him, Jason Bascom, and Ink Spots.
Nice, nice. That's very cool.
What's up, Ms. Good Stuff? What is this 10-minute buffer? Listen, the little icons up at the top of the thing, they start complaining if you like wait a couple of minutes. So rather than listen to them complain or read them complain, I just bump the thing down just a little bit because you can go live whenever you want. You know, you can go live early. So you just, bump it down a little bit. Just make sure that you got at least 10 minutes ahead of time for the thing to catch up. So yeah.
Oh,
you're live. Yes, we are.
Yeah, I'm still super new at all of this. I'm still trying to figure it out.
So. It's a thing and a half, man. I tell you what, there's all kinds of rigmarole to go through sometimes, and sometimes it does not work properly at all.
I have cruddy internet where I live. I'm in a nice neighborhood, and nice neighborhood means that old infrastructure. Old infrastructure means they don't want to replace it. So.
Exactly. And if everyone is using the internet at the same time, I do tech support. That's one of my side gigs.
Oh.
So if everybody is on the network at the same time, it's going to bog down the net. Just think of everybody jumping onto like a net and the net just getting heavier and being pushed down. And strained.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why in the evenings, like around this time when everybody's getting home from work, wanting to watch Netflix or YouTube or stream from, whatever, or play video games over the internet. Yeah, the network infrastructure is strained. So, yeah. What's up, Cement Shoes?
My internet would actually shut off every 44 minutes.
What's up? Every 44 minutes? Good God, that's untenable.
Yeah, yeah.
Cement Shoes, no, you did not miss the sing-along of Doom. Everything went wrong this weekend, and I forgot. Yeah, everything went wrong with my phone. Like, I woke up Saturday morning feeling pretty good and went to go put music on, and the music playing app said, SD card not found, or cannot play track, SD card unmounted. And visible confusion, because I know there's an SD card in there. I was just listening to stuff last night. What the fuck happened? My phone just decided, or the SD card, I should say, decided that, nope, there's nothing on here. It's, there's a card here, but you can't have access to anything here. Completely unreachable. So I don't know if it's corrupt or if, I don't know what I'm going to have to do, but yeah. I have spent the entire weekend rebuilding my music collection on my SD card. All the pictures and stuff that I have from the last year, who knows?
Oh,
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
You didn't,
but
so you didn't update it, like you boot it back up or whatever. All that stuff?
No. I mean, this was the stuff that was on my phone. Yes, because I was going to do a system reinstall, but I thought, nah, my micro SD card's fine. I'll just pop that out and it'll be fine. Yeah, no, I fucked that up. It's a bad idea. I did not update. I did not back up my micro SD card since January of this year. So an entire year of stuff just gone. God.
It's like thumb drives. I will plug it off thumb drive and it's like, hey, what's up? We're working, we're great. Yeah. You plug it in the next day and it's like, oh, you need to reformat this thumb drive.
Right, yeah. Everything's
You're like,
gone.
what? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, everything's gone. It's what? Yeah. Why?
Yeah, no reason whatsoever. It just won't work anymore.
Exactly. Listen to the Wise Frog. The trivia might be coming back soon-ish. Don't miss out. Hop on over. Yes, indeed. Link is in the description of this video as well as this one right here. Go subscribe to Goodstuff Comixgater as well. Appreciate you dropping the links, Frog. You rock, sir. And Cement Juice says I wrote a trivia game that's being used on a true crime channel. Weird. Killer Facts Trivia on next Friday. Nice, man. Congratulations.
Sweet.
That's
Is he getting a check for that?
Hopefully.
Yeah. A TV show's using it. And
right.
If they're using it, why hasn't he crowdfunded it yet as a board game, right?
Maybe there will be one after this. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean that sounds perfect if you got it on a TV show. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Everybody loves the whodunit now. There's like a million shows that show this kind of thing. So
well, I mean, mysteries. We always like mysteries. I mean, stories are mysteries, right? You gotta have something happen, in order to start the events, and you got to figure out what made that happen, and the motivations behind it.
Wait. Are we talking about comics? Because I don't know if that happens in a lot of comic books anymore.
Well, not anymore. But I mean, in the shit that I used to read when I was a kid, it did. I mean, I know, the comics used to have a story. Now it's mostly just sitting in a coffee shop and complaining about things. At least it seemed. No, I worked in my childhood comic shop like for the last 7 years. It just changed hands earlier this year, and I wasn't asked to stay. So I am now an independent comics liaison to the shop. Which basically means I bring, indie stuff to the owner and, hey, you should check this out. It's pretty badass. And, I know what I'm talking about. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. There was always bad comics. I would know because I always, it seemed like it would be an exciting new penciler I'd be working with. And that would be the book. That would be the writer. It's like, dude, what's this guy doing? He's writing absolutely nothing. But at least you had the superheroes, and they were still kind of doing superhero stuff. It was ridiculous, I would just tell editors, I'm like, it's Excalibur. Why don't we just go through the X-Men Rogue for like 6 months? And the editor's answer would be like, well, we don't know how long you guys are going to be on the book. What?
Here's a novel idea. Maybe let us tell a good story and see where it goes. That's how Bob Layton got put on Iron Man, and look what happened there.
I know. He's had movies. He's had a comic book company. Mm-hmm. I know.
But it seems to me the problem is that a lot of the people that are in power at these companies now do not have the gumption to look backward and see what worked before and to see what the editors did before. I don't honestly, and I've said this before, I really do not feel like any of these editors are worth their fucking salt. They're not worth the checks they're printed on.
Most of them
do their job.
Most of them are all they're doing is managing. They're traffic managers. They are everybody getting the deadline done. Because I don't know when it started happening, but at some point the editors in chief became like micromanagers, where they would hire all of the artists and all of the writers, and literally what they would do is they'd have a big meeting with the group editors and some of the other editors, and they would sit down and go, hey, we just signed these 4 guys to contracts. They need projects. And editors trying to stay in the good graces with the editor-in-chief, their boss, would go, oh, I have a book for him, or I have 2 books for him, or we've got, and that's what they would do. And you're just like, that's, instead of going, well, this guy does great action, or this guy does really great looking women, he should be on a book that's female centric or action centric. They'd just be like, oh, well, he needs something tomorrow. So they're like, and that's what would happen. And you're like, dude, that's,
well,
and a lot of the editors are just lit majors. They went to college to be editors, or, literature majors. And, what are they really going to do when they get out of college? Well, comic book companies chew through editors. So that's probably one of the easier companies to get into as an editor. And they all hope, oh, I'll do this for 5-6 years, and then I'll edit real books. And that's what they all hope for.
And that's the problem right there.
Mm-hmm.
Real books. No. Yep. This is real books. You take this seriously. You do a good job with this. Show that you can actually tell a story with these characters. Yeah. I mean, editors have to be storytellers as well. How the hell else are they going to edit something? It's not just typos. It's there's story beats. There's I don't know, the rhythm of a story, for fuck's sake. If you're just an English lit major, that means you read a lot of shit. Can you write?
Do you know comic pacing? Well, look at comic books. It's not comic book pacing. You're like, I worked on this one project at Top Cow with Francis Manipul. In the first issue really set it up. Like, I told Francis, I'm like, dude, this is going to be something. This guy really set up. That's all he knew. Like, he was a guy from TV shows. Top Cow would always get these writers from LA because they were hoping that if they hooked them up with stuff, then they would get hooked up with stuff. It's the whole
scratch your back, you scratch my back.
Exactly. And Francis and I quickly learned that the guy couldn't pace a comic book at all because nothing happened for the rest of the series until they just canceled the book. Oh, it was just, to be honest, I think probably somebody helped him. A buddy of them helped him pace out that first issue, and then it just went to hell. It was all just talking stuff. That's all they did was talk,
because filming stuff like that, a TV, talking heads, you can you make that interesting, but this is comics. You got to be doing something. You've only got a certain amount of pages.
Well, it's people are moving.
Yeah,
they're talking. There's all those visual cues as human beings that we pick up on, and they're beautiful. They're a bunch of beautiful actors. So it can be entertaining when they're just talking. But comic books, Jack Kirby said, he has no budget. That's what he would always say. He goes, whatever I want to come up with, I have no budget. It's an infinite budget because all it is just drawing. It's stuff putting on the page. And in comic books, it's become the opposite. It's a bunch of writers who honestly, they're practicing for their CW gigs. They literally they're filling their schedules because they're like, hey, I did a TV show 4 years ago and I wrote a book 2 years ago. But I'm seeing my bills every month. The bills come every month. They don't come every 4 years. They're like, I need something to fill into my schedule just to pay for the normal everyday stuff. So they make some phone calls and they pick up a couple comic book projects because they wrote some stupid, TV show that got, made it to 12 episodes or whatever.
Right.
They don't know anything about comic books, but their agent, oh, look, he's got an agent. The editor gets a hold of, oh, look at all. And most editors don't want to be editors anyway. So they're like, oh, I get in with this agent. He's going to get me in with Hollywood. And it's this weird back and forth where you're just looking at it going, oh, nobody cares. Nobody cares about the book.
No, and exactly. It's all about how they can shift things and manipulate things, social manipulation, to get to a better, a better gig. And so assume you get that better gig. You can't write to save your ass anyway. So once you get that better gig, you go fuck it up.
Oh, so well, that's
what's the point?
They're on a team with 4 other writers.
Oh,
so all they're doing is they're writing dialogue for female number 2. They won't get They won't get in charge. They won't get in charge of the actual story. The producer and the showrunner will do that.
No wonder the budgets for these fucking shows get overblown. Trim the fat. Find somebody that can actually write. One person, pay them well, get rid of the rest of the fucking useless think tank. Good Lord.
Chuck Dixon said that until he learned how Hollywood really works, and he made a few mistakes. Like he was supposed to write Expendables 2.
Yeah.
The producers gave him the idea they wanted him to write.
What's up, Tank?
And hey, Tank. And
I see you, Feline, with your crab salad and brat.
And Chuck goes, I like that idea. Here's what I would do. He didn't get the gig. He did not write Expendables 2 because he learned the producers just want you to write their ideas. And I think maybe comic books are a little bit that way too. Or nobody has any idea. You know, if you don't have any, because I take everybody's advice. If I don't know how to do something, I'm like, dude, I got to ask some questions because I'm a complete moron. Right. I've never done any of this stuff. If you got a writer coming in who doesn't know comic books, call your freaking penciler up and go, hey, I'm writing this new book. I see you're drawing it. What would you like to draw?
Right.
You know, where do you see these characters?
Because comics is a unique synthesis of story and art. You know, they both have to be working in tandem. I mean, you know, sometimes you get those rare occurrences where the story and the art mesh together, and it's this amazingly awesome story through and through. Yeah, you know, most of the time, you know, you get a really well written story, and the artwork kind of sucks, or you get this really beautifully drawn story. Or beautifully drawn, you know, book, and then the story is just like, wow, I'd just rather look at the pictures, you know?
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart with those because you really want to like the story, but it pulls you out of it, you know? There's a disconnect. It's jarring. So there's got to be a, I don't know, it's almost like a tonal shift. There's got to be a parity between the two.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, that, you know, got to understand each other.
And with Marvel and DC, they really have everything already set up. We already know what to expect from Spider-Man. We already know what to expect from X-Men. It's not that complicated. You interject a new plot. You interject the villains we've already seen that we like, and away you go. And along the way, maybe you introduce a new villain. You introduce a new character. I to be honest, I don't understand how editorial does anything anymore, because they'll launch brand new books and I go, who did anybody care about that character? Why? If you want a character to care in DC, you want us to care about a character, then you start writing interesting stories for him after you put him in Justice League or after you put him in Batman. That's how you launch stuff.
You work them in gradually, you know,
not just throw out a new, a new shitty series. Hey, look, here's a series nobody asked for.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like they don't understand the dynamics of the business. Like, if I had a product I knew no fan would buy, but it was perfect for the comic book stores, I could say, well, we'll make this a miniseries because by the time the fans don't buy it, it's too late. The comic book stores have already bought it. They already have 4 issues of it. We were already at issue 4, and then we'll launch another product. Now, I personally wouldn't do something like that. But the editors, there's this weird disconnect. They don't understand. First, you sell to the comic book stores. If it's good, it gets to the fans, and then it's a combination. Now the fans are looking for it. The comic book stores want to order more. You know, I mean, I know that comic book stores are all over the place, but
not nearly as much as they used to be. That's for damn sure. And
no.
I will say this about that archaic model. If the shops were able to ship unsold books back, and it wasn't, you know, cost prohibitive, that'd be a different story. Since it is really cost prohibitive to ship the books back, it's a negative for the comic shops. That's why they live and die by the subscriptions. You know, the margins on comic shops are razor thin. They have been since the fucking 80s, because you know there's only a certain percentage. I mean, I never really got fully into it with the old owner, but yeah, seeing some of the returns and like seeing some of the levels you had to buy in order to get like the specific cover that they wanted, especially in recent years. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's gouging. And it's shifting the onus of making sure this shit sells upon the comic shop instead of what we do over here, which is we shift that onto ourselves and we talk to our audience. You know, we get them to come to us. And it used to be that you'd beat feet and you'd go to conventions, you'd talk to people, you get them to tell the comic shop to order this shit so that the orders would be bigger coming from Diamond, you know. Since, you know, Diamond doesn't want to push, you know, indie shit until they have to now. I'm just saying, everybody left. I wonder why. Having a bottleneck is never good. Ask any gamer trying to get performance out of their machine. A bottleneck isn't good when it comes to your bandwidth. A single point of failure, I'm speaking in tech terms now, a single point of failure is no fucking good. Ever.
No. Because it'll happen.
So, yeah.
When you have that, like you just said, if there's one place where it can fail and you don't have any alternatives, it's going to fail. Yeah. And when it fails, it's going to fail miserably.
And workarounds are built. You know, that's what we do over here. You know, this is the indie scene. We build our audience, we build our platform, we connect to our people, we make sure they know how to find us, and we, you know, present them with the product that we have. Hey, we've got this story to tell, you know. Come on this adventure with me. I hope you enjoy.
That's why I'm here. Yeah. I got tired of telling other people all the ideas I had for the book, or how to sell the book, or where to put the book. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. And that was it. And I'm like, oh, well, if I think it's a great idea, I should do it.
Because everybody else has their idea, and their idea is better. You know, that's great, but you know, everything that I've got going on here is so much better. You know, that's the attitude. You know, and it's silly. I mean, and you know what? If so, put your money where your mouth is. Get skin in the game. You know, that's
what I have done.
Of this exactly. That's the beauty of this scene over here. Everybody's got skin in the game. You know, and they've got you know, you succeed or fail by your own hand. You know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you know, doing this thing, you know, doing live streams. I mean, you got to be real. You know, otherwise it's gonna show. You can't be fees. You can't be fake.
Well, I'm amazed. Oh yeah. BIOS motherboards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm amazed. I'm not amazed. Some of the artists and the writers that I've met at conventions, and you'll be like, "Hey, dude, I'm a big fan of your stuff." And, you know, I'll introduce myself, and they're like, "Cool." I'm like, we will never see them. We'll never see them on YouTube crowdfunding, because they are like a blank piece of
anxiety, you know. Because I mean, I get that, but I mean, fuck it, you know. I do something and I look like a complete fucking goof ass in public. Yeah. Oh no, not the first time, not gonna be the fucking last time either. Made a complete ass of myself in front of Warren Ellis at San Diego Comic-Con. Few things hold terror for me anymore, folks.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, I don't know. I don't understand the attitude of being too cool to geek out. You work in fucking comics. Why are you here unless you love this shit and you want to make good stories and geek the fuck out when you meet a fellow artist? You know?
Or they all think that it's what do you want? You know, those guys that they've attained a certain level of success, and they think everybody who comes to them wants something. Fans want free sketches, artists want job. Like, it's like, no, dude, I admire
mean, I
your
want a
work.
conversation, you know, a genuine conversation with a human being. Usually, I mean,
yeah. Oh, you're
as
not
you
going
can
to
see,
get that.
this is my interview style. You know, this is how I talk to people at conventions too. I mean, ask anybody that I've interviewed. Like this is how I talk. I mean, I had like a 30, 45 minute long conversation with Mike Wolfer about, you know, his career and stuff at San Diego Comic-Con. I didn't prepare shit for that interview. I wanted to discover who Mike Wolfer was while talking to him, you know.
Yeah. Talk to the person, not asking a bunch of questions.
Well, I mean,
You know, oh, here's the
interviews
prepared
get
questions
stale,
we have.
you know. Let me ask the same 5 fucking questions that everybody has asked you before. And, you know, I don't know. I prefer to let the conversation go where it will, and then, you know, we talk. It's the same way I would talk to my customers when I was in the comic shop. You know, this is nerds geeking out in a fucking comic shop. And as you can see, I kind of fucking live in a comic shop. You know, the fucking library back here. But,
yeah. Are those all books, or are we looking at some DVDs also behind you?
Oh, no, these are all books.
Nice.
These are novels here, and then comics here, and comics behind. Yep.
Nice.
All kinds of books, and there's more over here, and there, and there. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, it's, you know, I mean, yeah, I love this stuff. I love story. That's probably why I'm so hard on this stuff. You know, I get so passionate about it because I love story. You know, I learned to love reading at a young age, and you know, from then on, like, I don't have time for bad stories. If the story is bad, you know, I'm out.
Yeah, and the industry, that's all I have time for nowadays. You know.
Well, there's no heart left in the industry, it seems. You know, and that's what I see over here. And then there, you know, in the big two, there's no heart. Some of the stuff that's been put out by like Dark Horse and, you know, Source Point and you know, Mad Cave. You know, I've seen some good stuff come out. You know, I've seen some like really, really good indie books, and I was always willing to check it out. Whenever I was in the shop, I would always tell people to look in the back of previews. You know, that's where you're going to find the gold. Find that little ad that's about this big, and give somebody a shot. You know, they fucking rolled the dice and paid to gamble in that book. Like, give them a shot, even if you get it and you don't dig it. You help somebody sell that issue, you know, and maybe that's all they needed to keep going so they can get better. Maybe it wasn't for you, but you tried something new, you know. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of something like previews, you know. Over here, you know, we're a little different. We're doing the prestige format, and then we can put stuff in previews, you know.
Yeah, I would get hate mail on Suicide Squad.
What's up, Matt Ba?
Hey man, what's going on? And I would get hate mail, and I would always respond to it because I'd be like, yeah, the artist before me was amazing, but commercial art pays way too well. I would just tell him, I'm like, yeah, he couldn't keep up with his comic book work because his commercial artwork, his commercial gigs were paid fantastic, and he's too busy. And I would tell him, I'm like, hey man, I can't promise I'm going to be able to, you know, get to that guy's quality. But what I'll do is I'll be better every month. I said, I promise I will try my hardest every month to be better and better. And usually I wouldn't get a reply. Yeah, I would get a reply. They're just like, oh, I don't know what to say to that.
Well, because they're looking for an argument. So they want to fight. You know, it's the internet. People are always looking for a damn fight. Cement Shoes says, when I first started watching Flying Feline and you were on camera, I thought you were broadcasting from your own comic book store.
It looks it. It looks like the back of a comic book store. I've been in the backs of comic book stores that look exactly like that. Yeah,
I mean, I've got a whole bunch of short boxes back over there as well that I'm gonna stack some up over here, so I'll just be able to turn. I mean, there's VHS tapes up over there, so yeah, I'll have to do a tour of this of my little library at some point and put it up on the channel. Probably because of the turning shelves. Yeah, the spinner racks. I got these on Amazon like a long time ago, and I have yet to see any more. They're magazine spinner racks, not comic, so they're a little bit wider, but they accommodate cool shit like the Mary Boys because it's you know, little wider. It's a magazine size. So.
Oh,
But
okay. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah.
All right. So let's take a look at your trailer for Death Raider. Man, I bought this soundboard off of Wish for like $40, and I have had no end of fun with this thing. It has been great.
Isn't it amazing?
I
said, isn't it amazing sometimes when you take a chance on cheap tech and you're like, oh, this is the greatest thing in the world.
Totally works. Yeah. Totally works. Yeah.
Taking shots at the enemy. I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electronic, blow the sonic roof up. I'm too honest when I take a few shots. They're too toxic, need to take the new song. And you cannot save me, 'cause I don't need saving. It's everything I've been chasing, all here for the taking. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough to see. I'm sick of all the
Nice.
Dude, Jimmy Reyes art did that trailer. And
I was going to ask who did your trailer. Nice.
He did it over, like literally he started working on it as soon as I started talking to him, and he was done by the next day. And I was like,
that's awesome.
I was like, I didn't expect him to do it so fast. Like, if he told me like, oh, dude, you know, I can't get to it in a week, I'd be like, okay, cool.
Right.
I'll get more artwork to you or something. But he's just like, he's done it. I'm like, and I saw it and I'm like he sent me just the where the Death Raider pops up and glows, and I'm like, oh, that's. And he asked me, he like looked at the sign up page and he goes, I'm getting like a real cyberpunk type of feel. And I go, I'm not specifically going for cyberpunk on purpose, but also whenever I draw a new hero, I create a new hero, a buddy of mine, Andy Smith, goes, yeah, looks like another villain. He goes, every time you draw good guys, they look like bad guys. So, and
I've been accused of that as well. So it happens.
And he told me that back in CrossGen days, and it's still the exact same. Like I looked at I'm like, oh, this is the main hero. He's a metal skull robot mask, and I'm like, well, that just means I got to make the villains worse. And that's always been my philosophy.
Gotta make them like absolute, just horrific. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's exactly what I did. You know, I'm like, well, I know how to work around this.
Aha. Okay. I remember you mentioned CrossGen earlier. So you worked with Andy at CrossGen.
Yes, I inked him on like 1 or 2 issues, but we were all in the same cubicle. We were like back to back in this big like office cubicle thing, and I was working on the first, and he was working with Bart on whatever they moved on to after the first. But he was, you know, Andy was inking then, and then he also did some penciling while he was at CrossGen. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's It's CrossGen was it's sad they're gone. If they were gone, I'd probably be still working there. Most of us would still be working there. But dude, I got to go into work every day with a bunch of comic book artists and writers and colorists, and we all loved comic books. And dude, it doesn't really get better than that for like a job experience for someone who's in comic books.
Well, I mean, doing that whole bullpen thing, that would be amazing, man.
Dude, it was fantastic.
Dude, I bet. Some of the guys have a Discord set up, and they do kind of like the bullpen thing. I very rarely get to jump in because I'm always going hither, thither, and yon. But being able to hang out, I mean, that's kind of what Topicless is that I do with Jason Bascom. Actually, tomorrow night on my channel, 9:15. Everybody, it's kind of like a bullpen hangout. We shoot the shit and we live stream. you know, when we draw.
Oh, that's very cool.
And we create. But the reason why I brought up CrossGen is because a long time ago when I was working in Orlando for a comic book artist, found these on a table.
Oh yeah, the sketch cards.
Yeah, they're oversized like sketch cards. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we would do those at conventions. Yeah.
They were gonna get thrown in the trash, so I was like, I'll just rescue those. And so I've had them for a while, and every so often I'll do some CG characters on there. So far I've done a Goblin Girl. Whoops, did not mean to do that. So far I've done Goblin Girl, Magna, and Pit on those.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to. I would always look up when because what it was is while we were signing at the CrossGen table, it was like 2 hours at a time. We'd be scheduled. Yeah. They're like, "Hey, do free sketches for anybody who asks," and we would do them on those like oversized sketch cards. But cool. I would always look up when the boss was around because, we knew it. We always knew it, but everyone would ask for, "Can you draw Spider-Man? Can you draw Wolverine?" Nobody ever asked for CrossGen characters.
Well,
and I would look at the boss and I'd be like, "Oh, all the money he's spending, and nobody's asking for these goddamn pathetic characters."
Well, I mean, it takes time to build to that, to get that impact. Free sketches. Of course, somebody wants a recognizable character. They want to show, hey, look at this cool piece of original artwork I got from, the con. Who is it? I don't know.
Yeah. From some CrossGen character. One of the weird standing around doing nothing first characters. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's an uphill battle, man. It's a steep climb.
Well, they made it harder too. Their first 4 books were atrocious for the comic book. I remember I once went up to Andy and I'm like, I went home, because they gave us all the books. And I'm like, I really went through and I really looked at the first. And I really looked at what you and Bart did. And I go, I'm angry. And he's like, why are you angry, dude? He goes, we get paid every 2 weeks. We get, insurance, all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, they literally just wasted 2 years of your guys' career with this amazing work that you guys did in amazing colors for a nothing. It was a nothing book. It was a vanity project by the boss. Like I looked at it and I'm just like, you guys did Bart did some of his best work of his career. The shots, the figure work, the storytelling.
Oh yeah.
For nothing. You just look at that project and you're just like, I mean, and I like the boss. He was a cool dude, but just because for him, he was successful as a salesman and he was very successful in a tech company. Sold his tech company and then retired. Then decided, he loved comic books, so he started a comic book company.
Yeah.
He was in love with this novel that the first was based on, and you're just like, the problem when someone comes to you and they offer you money and you're like, dude, we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to do this. You can get a vibe. You can get a vibe from somebody. Oh, I can tell this guy, don't do that. Or you get a vibe going, I can either go along for the ride,
right,
and we can all have fun. And hopefully he's such a good salesman that it works out. And unfortunately, a lot of the people that were involved in the very beginning were like, oh, I feel like he's a good salesman and it will work out. Instead of someone going, whoa, dude, I see what you mean. I like your ideas. I like the idea of having everybody under one roof, but this shit will not sell for a brand new company. I want to see your version of Wolverine. I want to, it doesn't have to be exact copies, but dude, that was when
people were looking for those analogs still. Yeah.
Oh, they really were. It was the rise of the comic book. It was people were done with Image and they were going back to Marvel.
Yeah.
And that was the time that the boss launched CrossGen, and nobody was interested in a brand new company. They'd already had their fill of all the Image guys and messed up deadlines, and crazy stuff, and buying the books for $3-4. Yeah, buying the books for $3 or $4, and then going in the store 6 months later and seeing you could have bought them for 50 cents. Yeah, you know, every one of those books. Oh look, the whole run of every Wildstorm, Extreme, all those books, you could get them for 50 cents a piece. So the last thing they wanted was a brand new company when they were returning to John Romita Jr. and Avengers and Iron Man and X-Men. You know, so it was poor. It was especially poor timing with the books they launched. The boss was really thinking big about, well, this is for the kids crowd. This is, you know, it was a long-term business plan, right? But he didn't have the money to just lose $2 million a year forever until it catches on. Yeah. You know. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's sometimes that's the caution of thinking big. I mean, you know, plan big, but do what works.
Yeah, and be practical about it. Yeah, you can't.
That's one of the
hope
things.
For the worst, not the best.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You know, and that's what I've seen with a lot of campaigns over here. People have. They've learned from a lot of the mistakes of previous campaigns, and they're doing things differently. They're having more of the book done and whatnot. So tell us what the origins of the impetus of Death Raider is.
Okay, Death Raider really is. It's a MARSOC Marine who gets almost fated. He's critically injured in a mission, and he's you know, I don't want to give away too much, but he can't get around. He can't get around without his armor is really what it is. So and there's a subplot of, you know, a dude that's a Marine, you know, a badass special forces guy is now all of a sudden he can build you know, high-tech armor. There's a plot for it. It's not just, oh look, he can do this, you know. He builds out his armor, and he builds out his armor specifically because it's a big conspiracy mystery BS of why his team got ambushed in the first place. The military, the guys who ambushed him, everybody's still after his ass, so he's in hiding. And then he builds out his armor while he's in hiding to find out what happened, why it happened, and to, you know, revenge, get back at everybody, because he sees, as he learns more, he realizes it's not just about a revenge. If he doesn't do something, a lot of people, you know, are going to pay the price for him doing nothing. And he set up perfectly out of random circumstance of why he can help where no one else can help. So, and there you go, you know, and it really does have a cyberpunk techie feel. The setting is like,
I love that.
I love sci-fi. I love sci-fi. I love superhero. It's definitely is going to be, you know, obviously there's going to be the superhero elements to it, but it's a lot of cool tech grittiness. I mean, even the you know, it's robot stuff. I mean, right here, you know, it's a standoff with a robot. So, you know,
hey man, I'm digging the artwork here, and so this is all you.
Yeah. I've worked really hard for the last 2 years. I really put my money where my mouth is when I said, all these comic books, the stories are shit, and I wanted to be a penciler since I broke in. I did a year at the Cuber School.
Hell yeah, man!
I had a buddy. He's we called him Swiss Dave, but he was from Sweden, and he's like, "Hey, this is in '92." He goes, "The European market's crashing in comics. If you want to be a comic book artist, you better get in as fast as possible." And I was like one of the only people who could actually hold a brush and make a line, like a thin to thick line. And I didn't know storytelling at all. Like, I would look at guys who were drawing like, oh, look at your Play-Doh people, and they would do better in the storytelling class because they actually understood storytelling. Like, this is what you should do, Rob. You need to move your eyes around the page, and I'm like, huh? I just want to draw Rob Liefeld poses, and you know, I just want my guys, you know, punching and kicking each other.
Right.
So I was like,
badass.
Yeah.
Well, this is how it will feel badass while it looks badass. Once you get both those things together, it's fucking alchemy.
Exactly. So, I was like, well, I'm going to get it as an inker and we'll just go from there. And then the decades went by,
Right.
and I'm like, oh man, this
Hey,
business
work is
getting,
work, man.
yeah.
You know?
I like paying the bills. I like having
It's
a
helpful,
place to live under, a roof to live under, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And,
food to eat, a roof to live under. Being able to buy a new pair of shoes when you need to.
Oh, my wife does that. She buys me brand name sneakers. Otherwise, I'd be walking around in Walmarts. But I just was like, I gotta write. I gotta draw. And it's not. It's everybody can see this industry is not anti-inking, but it's less about inkers every day. More and more pencilers are inking themselves, or they're just shooting from their pencils. And
yeah, basically
drawing it on the computer and saying, "Oh, look, it's inks now." And you're like, "Well, there's no your artwork is now sterile, and your colorist is doing all the work." But congratulations.
It usually takes a competent inker like Jimmy to make their own brushes, so that the inking actually feels like real inking. Otherwise,
yes,
a lot of digital inking feels very.
It's an outline.
Very stiff, very sterile, as you said.
Yeah. And haven't you? My favorite is that rendering that they now do, where they do it on everything, where it's like maybe a 0.3 line in Photoshop, and they just crisscross it and hatch it and crisscross it, and they'll put it on smoke. They'll put it on the figure work. They put the same line width on everything, and go, look, it's rendered. Look at the detail, and you're like. Dude, you practically could have just made that as a stamp. You could have done that, and who knows? Maybe that's what they're doing. Stamp.
Anything to save time, man. I mean, the deadlines that they're forced to be under now. It's now. Don't craft something of quality. Don't be a draftsman. I mean, Bernie Wrightson would never have been able to do Marvel's Frankenstein. The Frankenstein story that he did. He would never have been able to have time to do that. When he was coming up like he did.
Oh, or what about the? Are you talking about the plates, like the chapter?
Those.
That was Marvel.
I mean, his classic. That was way back in the day. They published it first. It was in their Marvel magazine. Their adult whatever, I believe.
Oh, is it even the ones like the like the ship at the sea, out to sea, and the one where the Frankenstein monster is hiding in the chicken coop with the shadows, all the gray?
I believe so. Now, Chad,
I didn't know that was
if
Marvel.
I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Because I know that Bernie did his Frankenstein Alive. He was working on that with Steve Niles. But I mean, the Mary Shelley's Frankenstein that Bernie did, I'm pretty sure it was first published by Marvel back when they did Savage Sword of Conan and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
the magazine format. Back when Marvel had balls.
Yeah, and I heard that some of those he worked weeks on them.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean,
that.
The detail in those, that's actual detail,
Yeah, the laboratory scene with Dr. Frankenstein with all the labware, all the lab glass.
And it all reads. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Inking is a dying art, my friend. I mean, I usually ink my own stuff now. I enjoy putting ink down on paper. I will pencil digitally because I can get a basic idea of what I want and I can fix things quickly without erasing a hole in the paper, and then I'll blue line print it, and then I'll ink it traditionally using either a crow quill or my Raphael No. 3 seems to be my favorite weapon of choice when it comes to inking. Yeah. I have. Go ahead.
I do some of the drawing, all the drawing that you need with the reference, although like the structure. I do the structure on the PC. Because I have a Intuos or Cintiq. I have a Cintiq, and then I print it blue on paper, and then I do finish off the drawing in pencil, and then I have to go in and ink, and by then I'm already bored. I'm already I'm like, I feel like I've drawn this son of a bitch twice, and now I have to ink it. But if I also know that if I get a little lazy, I can freehand this. That it always looks like shit. So I just force myself.
As you work through, you figure out what works best. See, that's what Tank does as well. Yeah,
Cool.
Fraga, Dan Fraga, my dude Fraga Boom. He's the one that introduced me to that. You know, I thought, pencil traditionally and then ink digitally, and it's like, no. Try it the other way. And yeah, oh yeah, 100%. I've yet to, I use Photoshop because I have an old version of Photoshop. I mean, you stick with what you paid for and you have that works, right? And I've got old Photoshop, and I don't know that Jimmy's brushes will work in this one, and I've yet to find a brush to ink with that doesn't have like some kind of weird jitter on it that makes it feel unnatural. I found some pencil brushes that work just fine. That's why I'm able to do like the penciling and whatnot. But like the inking brushes, I've yet to find one.
Have you ever tried not Photoshop, but what's the other software everybody uses? I actually have it on my computer. I just haven't used it in a little while. The anime one.
Clip Studio?
Yeah, Clip Studio. Yep. Whenever I've done some of the drawing and I'm just like, let me just drop in a few rendering lines to see what they look like.
Yeah.
They make some pretty decent ink lines. I've actually done a little bit of the actual, like, I'm just like, let me just doodle out the hair or the face or something like that and see how it looks. Or even some of the textures that actually, it's not the brush. It's like, it literally looks like a pen nib icon. That's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good where it's steady and it actually looks really good. I'm actually surprised by that, but I'm not doing,
try that.
Yeah. I'm not doing really long lines. I'm not, that's what my French curve and my pen nib are for the big, sweeping rendering lines and speed lines and things of that nature. I know you can do that on the computer, but I'm finishing off. I'm doing most of the artwork on the paper anyway. So,
well, yeah. I mean, you want to have an original. I mean, have an original page to sell.
The economics of comic books now, like a few people asked me about, well, dude, how well does Death Raider have to do? And I'm like, well, it'd be great if the campaign, at least I could be able to pay a colorist, or am I going to be paying for it piecemeal and just keep it in demand and just keep working along and plodding along and doing it that way? I'm like, I can do that too. I have no problem if it takes that, like, we finally hit the colorist gets paid and it gets published, it gets printed in 2 months. I'm fine with that, because I already worked out my business model and exactly what I expect and what I need to see out of the project in the first place. Especially being my first project, it's my first crowdfunding project. So I looked at it like, well, there's the artwork. There's people now seeing my stuff all over the place, I'm not just an inker now. So now they'll consider me as a penciler. Like there's, whenever I do something, I have at least like 3 reasons why I do it or I won't do it.
Right.
So, and Death Raider is the same way, where I'm like, well, here's all the different reasons why I want to do this, besides that I love comic books and I want to tell the story. But from a business, all of a sudden business reasons came into focus when my wife and I signed a mortgage. when all of a sudden there's a house payment due every month, all of a sudden I'm like, I can't do that convention unless I could do this. I can't do this unless I could, like all of a sudden all the business side of comic books became a lot more important than they were before. It was like, oh, dude, that project sounds awesome. I wonder if I can get to work on that. Now it's like, well, that project sounds awesome, but what's the art sales going to be on it? Or this art sales will be incredible, but this will be a giant pain in the ass. The book will always be way behind on deadline, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
So, yeah.
I mean, well, when are you looking to launch this book?
A buddy of mine, Andy just asked me that. And I think because I've been pushing hard with different live streams and just on social media, I think probably December 1st. I don't know if that's a good idea or a terrible idea, you know, because of Christmas and everything. But I think I'm going to go live with a campaign, you know, because it's been a solid month of, like, you know, getting people for the sign up page. So I think it's going to be a December live campaign start.
Okay. Very cool. Frog G has breaking news.
It is breaking
Frog G
news.
is back over at Indiegogo.
Nice.
In demand. That is fantastic.
Were they shadow banned?
Yeah.
And the rest of them?
Yeah, they were, and the option to go in demand was ticked, and apparently it did not allow it to get go in demand. And it
really?
was closed. So apparently it is back on over at Indiegogo. So check that out.
I know Shane was complaining about problems too with his and shadow banning, and you know, he wanted to do another 30 days and just a bunch of BS. I didn't really completely understand everything about it because I'm still new to this, but
well, it seems that some things just are not working over at Indiegogo. I'm not sure what happened, but I mean, this is progress. If Frog G is now back and
that's
over
awesome.
and allowed to be in demand, that's progress. So Skål.
I would say that with tech companies nowadays, it has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with they have no customer service and they think the computers can run everything. Because
a lot of that is
they're so
true.
cheap.
Yeah.
You know, like, well, if we hire an employee, then we have to pay him insurance and 401k and all this stuff.
We actually have to take care of that employee. Can't we just have like a soulless machine do all this stuff?
Exactly.
No,
24/7.
how this works. Yeah.
Well, comic books back in the day, everybody was freelance because the rates were great. You know, like the theory was in corporate America was, we need this guy because he's excellent, but we can't afford to pay him every day all year round. So we'll pay him for the 2 months we need him. But he gets paid so well, he can decide whether he wants to work 6 months of the year or the whole entire year. Now freelance means we are going to pay you equivalent to what we pay our employees but you won't get insurance. You won't get 401k.
Yep.
But you have, what do they call it? Options of lifestyle. You're like, you're like,
sounds like some bullshit to me.
Yeah. Oh, you mean I can wait. So you're telling me that I get paid the same amount of money as the other guys who go in the office, but I don't get any of the benefits
of going in the office.
I get to but I get to schedule. My schedule will be up to me. And you're like, well, yeah. You're like, so when you call me on a Friday and you ask me to ink 4 pages and the penciler is going to email me sometime on Friday, that's my choice. That's my option. And I'll be able to decide when you're like, oh, well, you need to be done Monday morning. Wait.
Well, of course. I mean, that makes perfect sense, right? We're going to pay you shit so you can be on call to save our ass is what that sounds like to me.
Oh, yeah, they would do that all the time. And I asked a bunch of guys that were working pretty consistently at DC. I go, do you feel like a freelancer or do you feel like an employee? And they're like, yeah, dude, see what happens when you say no to somebody. You'll feel like a freelancer when you say no. They're like, no, we're employees who get paid like freelancers, you know, with no benefits. And I'm like,
and they wonder why the talent has fled. They wonder why. Yeah. Anyway, this is what happens when with corporate overreach. You know, and I was worried that as soon as these movies started getting made, if they could maybe have maintained independence and not been consumed by Disney, things might have been different. But no. So yeah, we had a good 10 years with the MCU. Everything after Endgame. I mean, it's called Endgame for a reason, folks. That was the end.
Yeah, dude. What happened to Phase 4? It's all been awful. I actually did like Shang-Chi, but my wife and I are like, we look at each other and we're like, Loki's really hard to get through. And then Winter Soldier and Falcon was really social driven. And I'm like, what? You know, like it just, I was like, what?
Well,
we enjoyed Hawkeye because it was simple.
Yeah. See, they have people that don't know how to tell a story. You know, it's just, I don't know. And at this point, I am hard pressed to care.
Yeah.
You know, I will admit to you know, liking Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness more than I expected to. You know, I enjoyed the 2 Venom movies more than I expected to, but you know, those are pleasant surprises, and you know, there's not as much magic in those as there was in the first, you know.
No,
because there's a plan.
I would ask you though, if what would you have enjoyed more, the Venom movies as they had them, or what if they actually I don't know if they had confidence in Spider-Man movies, but can you imagine if they introduced Venom slowly in the Spider-Man movies? Like Venom as the bad guy, like Venom that McFarlane and Michelini introduced was, you know, ripping the cow torso in half.
That whole scene of Mary Jane coming home and like seeing like the spider outline in the eyes in the corner, and like, oh, Peter, and then that grin, and she just fucking passes out because she's fucking terrified. Yeah. Can you imagine? Because then you would have had the end, the slow intro in Spider-Man 1. Then the whole second movie of Spider-Man would have been with Venom, and then you could introduce a slow build of Carnage in maybe Spider-Man 3 or 4. Venom. Then you could see a slow turn of Venom turning into kind of a good guy just because of the Carnage stuff, instead of this. You know, they really just burned through Venom in 2 movies, and they made him it was a bad roommate comedy. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing with bad roommate comedy? Why is this a bad roommate comedy? And everyone's like, they went with the comedy angle because, you know,
Deadpool.
That's seems to be the only thing that they can come up with. I mean, and it's the tone thing. Unfortunately, everybody that grew up watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Firefly thinks that they're Joss fucking Whedon.
Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
And everybody's got to write quirky, fun characters that are always quipping back and forth at each other. Knock it the fuck off. Every one of you. Stop it.
No. Yeah.
You're not Joss Whedon, and thank fuck, because one of them is enough. Now, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed Buffy. I enjoyed Firefly. Love Firefly. I think it's a goddamn shame we only got 1 season. But one person that writes like that is enough. Find your own fucking voice. That's all I'm saying.
Well, in the villains, the adversaries in Firefly were very serious. They were the Stooges. They were the you bounce the jokes off of them. You know. So everything has to be
the straight
funny.
man. They had to be the serious, you know, wall to bounce that stuff off.
Yeah, unfortunately. What are you gonna
Hey, Carrie, thanks for coming to hang out. Good to see you. So yeah, I mean, these are the conversations that I would have with some of my regulars in the comic shop. I'd have people come in and, you know, they're picking stuff up, you know, on a regular basis, you know, week in, week out, and you know, you ask them, so how's this book? You know, you've been picking it up for a while. How's this book? It's all right. I mean, I have all of them, so you know, and it's just like, really? That's the reason why you're picking up this book? I mean, I understand the collector mentality. I do the same thing. And it's just like, but that's a terrible reason to keep picking up a book. Just to say you have all of them. Like, the book needs to be entertaining. You know, the story needs to be there. So that's, you know.
Yeah, you hear that more now than ever. I hear that all the time at conventions. Well, I have all of Spider-Man. I have all of the X-Men, you know. You're like,
yeah,
so.
Okay. Well, that's great. You know, you can cut it off when it starts to be shit.
Yeah, I learned that a long time ago. Like, I would just follow artists around, or I'd follow writers around, and be like, oh, it's, you know, like a buddy of mine. I looked at him. We were in a comic book store, and this is during the Cooper School, so we didn't have much money. And I looked at him. I go, dude, are you aren't you going to get Jim Lee's latest issue? And he looked at me and he goes, why would I? I already have his good stuff. You know, and this is like 92. He goes,
right.
He's like, I already have the best examples. Why would I want, you know, Jim Lee and his assistants on Wildcats 4 or whatever it was, you know? And I'm like, I never thought about it that way. And
Jim Lee and his assistants, damn.
you know, and that's like with I quickly was like, yeah, why am I still buying Spawn? I don't even like McFarlane Spawn. You know, one of the things I liked about McFarlane were all the cartoony faces, and Spawn's face is all burned up. So I was like, I already have his Amazing Spider-Man, his his Incredible Hulk. Okay, I don't actually need to buy McFarlane anymore. So I already have his best examples. So
yeah.
No, that's not great for the industry, though.
No, it's not. But hearing that, like, this is coming from like a fan, like somebody that is looking to this stuff for inspiration. This is why we do our best.
Yes,
over here,
always improving.
This is why we always put our best foot forward as much as possible. Yeah, you got to get the book out at some point, but you know, put your best foot forward. Do the best work possible, because fans will feel like that, you know. Oh, I already got the best stuff, so why do I need to keep getting this book? Give them a fucking reason to keep getting this book, because the story's badass and you keep leveling up.
Mm-hmm,
you know? That's the aim.
Yeah, and I would give Jim Lee credit for his stuff would always change.
Not yet,
you know.
Soon.
That rip.
Yep.
You know, Jim's his style would change, and you know. Oh yeah, that was just a couple minutes ago. My wife thinks it's acid reflux, so it's not even like a cold. No Minecrafting. I don't understand that joke.
Minecraft is a time wasting game, I guess. I don't know. I don't get it either. It's okay, Hank. Sorry.
Oh, for Death Raider. Yeah, no, I don't. Actually, I have where I get the motion sickness when I play video games because video games special effects have gotten so good. So I do have an Xbox One, but I can only play Call of Duty and all those games. I only can play those while I'm on the recumbent bike. So I already have a time limit. Like, dude, after like 40 minutes, I'm beat. You know, I'm about to fall off my recumbent bike. There's no playing video. Try to play video games for 4 hours, and someone's gonna find me passed out in the gym.
Well, I mean, if you're constantly pedaling on the bike,
yeah. So
is that the only way you can get past the motion sickness?
Yeah, and in fact, it's a weird like memory trying to think about stuff. So I'll even be sick that first week I'm playing a new game until my brain knows exactly where I'm going, and when I have to think about where I'm going, whether I need to go left or right, the motion sickness will kick in, and I'm on. You know, I'm like, you know. So for me, the advancement in video games has actually been great for my career because I can't do it. You know, you know, I've got a time limit on those things.
Man, I hear you. I love playing video games, and every time I play, like Elden Ring. Elden Ring is my new. I bought it at the beginning of this year, and I only just recently started playing it. I really love From Software games, like the Dark Souls type games, and I feel like I'm wasting my time because I know I want to dig into it. And Carrie, I did not dismiss your legit question. Jesus, and don't you help, Feline. I see you causing trouble. Damn. Both of you. I did not dismiss your question. I am working on that book. I have other people asking me as well. So,
have you not sent out an update in a while?
What?
Is it because you haven't sent an update out in a while, or?
What? No, I haven't. I don't even have a sign up yet.
Okay.
Yeah. That is the question that she always asks me whenever she sees me, whenever she pops into the chat.
Oh, okay. Because I have thought about that. The fact that with a successful campaign, and then you told everybody, well, yeah, I'm going to be done in 8 months, and then all of a sudden they don't see any updates, or they have like all of a sudden someone might be offline for 2 months, and you're like, hey, bro, we already bought this book. Well, where have you been? Are you just playing video games and spending all the money that is supposed to be going towards the book, or what's happening? So
Yeah,
I didn't know if it was a little.
Unfortunately, that's been the case a few times with people. That's why this scene is once bit, twice shy. Like you only got one chance for a first impression. Like, be good to these people.
Yeah.
Be good to these people because they will tell people about the experience. Talk, man. I mean, I know this blows people's mind, but you know, word of mouth is the best way to get the word out. You know, that's why going to conventions works so fucking well. Yeah. You know, or it will absolutely make your reputation. Depends on how you play it. So,
well, with Death Raider, I just want everybody to know, as we're talking about Death Raider and comic books, I actually already have 10 pages finished. Like literally, like I've only showed maybe 5 pages total. I have another 5 pages that are like maybe 5 hours from being finished for the next 5. I realized that they're all from the same sequence, and I don't want to give away the same sequence. Also, you'd be like I had a plan even before I plotted out Death Raider, that when I did a book, I wanted the beginning, like the superhero stuff, because I see too many new books with new characters where you're like, here they are, 1 page of action, and then, oh, look, everybody's talking. Nobody's doing anything. You're like, dude, how is this an intro? How is this an intro for a brand new superpowered whatever? So I did a bunch of fun, cool shots of Death Raider for like the first 10 pages. But then I realized, like, people don't have any experience of me writing and penciling. If I just start like every few days, oh, here's another page of Death Raider. Here's another. People can be like, what the fuck is this? What do you do multiple panel pages, Rob? Like literally, I put up page 1 where it's how many panels is it? 1, 2, 3. I think there's 5 panels, just because I realized I had posted a cover. I had posted a double page spread. I had posted 2 splash pages, and I'm like, oh, they're going to get the wrong idea about Death Raider. They're going to be like, oh, look, it's Rob Hunter, second coming of Rob Liefeld. Fantastic. And I'm a big fan of Rob Liefeld stuff, but I also remember those image books where, splash, double page spread, splash, double page spread. Like, no, I don't want to do that, because I know how tight everybody is on cash. I mean, one of the reasons I'm doing a 100-page book is because my first 10 pages are big, splashy, multiple panel kind of pages. Like, I'm like, oh, I got a lot of story I got to get to. So yeah, I'm like, I can't do this in 64 pages when I have a big action battle for the first 10 pages. I'm
again, see, that's the I don't know, the the thing about comics. You've only got a certain amount of pages, and you've got to speak with eloquence and clarity, but with equity as well.
Yes.
Equity of word and image. Like, you got to use image to our advantage. I mean, that's why splash pages sometimes. You know, that's why double page spreads. I mean, if it works for the storytelling, then it works.
Mm-hmm. And if it doesn't, then you realize someone didn't have any ideas, so it's filler. they're trying to spread out a 10 page story into 20 pages. I used to tell everybody at CrossGen, when whatever the books cost at that point, I said, well, that's 12 cents a page. I go, was this page worth 12 cents to the consumer, to the fan? You literally, this is 12 cents a page. Was this worth 12 cents a page? And most of the time it was like, no. No, it wasn't. So,
chat, you fucking wild. I love you guys. You're speaking my language. Splash page, double page spread. Talk dirty to me about turn page reveal.
Oh, wait. How about cliffhanger and
dun
subplot? Well,
right.
Now we're gonna switching scenes. We're switching to a new location with a new character. Does this
establishing shot? Oh.
Now, does this establishing shot need to be a splash page, or we're going to make it a nice thin panel because nobody wants to draw backgrounds?
Right.
The Tom McFarlane rule. Tom McFarlane's like, he's like,
fucking love it. Love it.
Tom would, in an interview goes, I could draw a beautiful splash page of New York City, but I'm going to put Spider-Man over top of it because nobody cares about, oh, look, it's buildings. He goes, or if it's not Spider-Man, I will do a nice thin panel of New York City and then a big shot of Spider-Man. And you're like,
yeah.
oh. Yeah. And it's,
I mean,
that was so much fun. It's like, you're right, Todd. We don't want to just stare at buildings.
Well, you got to make this shit visually interesting. Like, you know, and I know you realize that when somebody is reading a comic, they're only going to spend a certain amount of time on a panel. I mean, unless, you know, they're, you know, over here in this indie scene where they're picking up a prestige format of a book, and this is like the first outing of it. And, you know, then, yes, they will probably breeze through the story. You know, people read really fast. You know, it happens. But if that artwork is good, they're going to come back and look at it, at least for me. You know, now I'm the kind that will just sit there and I'll just stare at something for a little bit and just look at the construction because, you know, blow my mind. Like that's why I read comics. You know, I got books and stuff like that, audio books that, you know, I can listen to while I'm drawing. So I'm reading while I'm drawing, you know, while I'm, you know, noodling something out while I'm inking. I love to listen to something while I'm inking because, you know, I'm not thinking about the composition. I'm thinking about the shadows and the rendering and where shit's coming from in that regard. So I can just I don't know. It's the way my brain works. I discovered this in college working on design work. Like a certain part of my brain can be engaged doing design work and I can listen to a story because I get bored listening to the radio. So I started listening to audio books just because I needed entertainment. I'm painting the same way. When I'm painting, if I'm listening, I can go look at some paintings I've done and I'll hear a snippet from the audio book I was listening to, you know, while I was painting it. So
yeah, they call that something. It was on Big Bang because it's something about engaging your brain doing something the exact opposite of what you're actually doing. Because I do the same thing. I will come up with ideas while I'm watching a TV show. So I'm watching the TV show, but my ideas, I'm not ripping off the ideas from the TV show. The TV show gives me a tangent, and then I'm writing a comic book story because of the TV show, even though it has nothing to do with the TV show. And for some reason, that's, you know, it can be a process where it seems to be a lot easier. I don't know why, but it's something about you distracting part of your brain while the creative side can work. Yeah.
Brains are funny things, man. They work in interesting ways, you know.
It's
And tangents, sometimes tangents are just great. I mean, I construct entire shows and conversations from tangents, you know, and occasionally, you know, bring it back to things. Tank says, comics are a unique storytelling format that is a synergy of visually driven storytelling with words as reinforcement.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they're supposed to be. It's artwork first, and then the dialogue is second.
But that doesn't mean the dialogue and the words, the necessary words should be shit. Those should be good. You've only got a limited amount of words. You better make them fucking count.
Oh no, the Death Raider is going to be like that Snake Eye Silent issue. There's going to be no dialogue.
Nice.
I'm kidding. Can you imagine your first outing?
Right.
Crowdfunding. There's no dialogue at all in a book.
Didn't need to pay a letterer for this one. The next one, there's going to be a lot of talking. But
people will be like, I would at least like to know the names of the characters.
Right? I mean,
could you at least do captions?
Little something. But yeah, Tank, you're right. Too many books with flat angles and our panels full of pinups. You know,
well,
dynamic storytelling.
Yeah, full of pinups because the writer has he has a 10-page story, but he has to fill 20 pages. I saw lots of that in Justice League. Mark Bagley and I. Oof. There was a lot of Green Arrow double-page spreads for like really no reason for the story besides there was barely any story.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also introduced, my favorite part of Justice League was, hey Rob, you know that double page spread, or that spread from that really cool spread from issue, I'm just making up a number because I can't remember the numbers, from 26. Right. I'll be like, yeah, did you ink that yet? I'm like, yeah. Okay, that is going to be page 1 of the next issue, and Mark is sending you a replacement page. And they would juggle pages because someone would take a look at, issue 26, all completed, pencils and inks. They would never notice these things in the pencils, even though they would get photocopies of the pencils. They would wait until everything was inked, and they'd look at it and go, oh, this whole issue is shit. Nothing happened. Or this is a Justice League, and this is a terrible comic book. How can we try to make it a little better? And so they would start going, and then they would, start seeing, Mark's photocopies of his pencils come in and going, oh, it would be really great if we took those 3 pages from the next issue and put them in this issue. And we just swapped pages out. Like, you just like, everyone made fun of Todd McFarlane when he said that he would storytell by just like drawing a bunch of pictures and then trying to figure out the pacing of the comic in Spider-Man. And literally, editors are doing the same thing at DC when they're supposed to be so much better about their gig. And I'm just like, guys, you had a script. The writer was done, which at least I guess usually writers are done before the penciler starts.
I mean, usually.
Yeah. I have no idea about that because a lot of times I never even saw the script. So maybe the writer would just write a paragraph saying this is what's supposed to happen in the book, and then go, okay, Mark's finishing up the last issue. Like it gives the writer 3 more days to actually plot an issue. I don't know.
Wow. What's up, Plagle? Good to see you, brother. Great looking book. Going to have to back this one, friends. Absolutely. Sign up is in the link is in the description.
Oh, thank you very much. And the colors is Pixel Tool, and his first name's Alonzo. Nice. And he is he's working on 3 more pages as we speak of colors. One is actually not even a Death Raider page. It's one of the things I always liked about Image was, when they put out the book and they're like, here's all these other cool characters that we might do books of. Little
stinger images, yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to have a couple other character ideas. I wanted those just towards it into the back. Like, if a lot of people go, oh, dude, Death Raider was a cool book, but who's this guy? Or who's this character?
The seeds.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Seeds. Absolutely.
So absolutely. one of those pages he's coloring is actually because he asked me, he goes, hey, which page did you want me to color first? And I go, well, this character, he's going to be at the back of the book anyways, dude. So, do that last. And he goes, oh, okay, cool. And he's probably thinking, well, that was the coolest of the pages.
That was the one I really wanted to do.
Yeah, probably. He's like, oh, I wanted to do that first, bro. What are you doing? So, maybe
work on it in his spare time or something.
Well,
I really like that one. Gonna get to it eventually, but yeah.
Yeah. Pixel has a he has that, the guys that were calling Joey mad on like Battle Chasers. Mm-hmm. And he has a real feel of that where, he's doing like a little bit of a limited tone or a limited palette. Yeah. And at first I was like, I don't know how I feel about it. And then I would just like go back to the stuff he's colored for me a couple of days later. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I go, that gives it, he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do. He's giving it an extra feel. Like it's not just like, hey, Rob.
Enhancing it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Enhancing.
He's not just taking the artwork and going, oh, look, hey, I colored it. I'm like, oh man, he's giving it the mood that I haven't done on a page. And that's what's my favorite part about it. Well, that, and I like the way he does the glowing stuff, especially for a book that's very cyberpunk.
Right.
Like, oh, wait till he sees the neon signs I draw for him specifically for him to, neon glow out.
Make pop. Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. People are going to be like, dude, I can't tell what's going on in this book, but those signs in the background look magnificent. Did you like the Pepsi sign in the back?
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of colors, right? It's supposed to enhance the book. It's supposed to add, add another layer because you've got the pencil work, the ink work, and the color work. It's all got to come together, and sometimes color work overrides the pencil work.
Yep.
I don't like that candy shellac that seems to happen quite often. I like it when the pencil work gets showcased, the ink work. Again, it's a synergy. And I'm digging this image down here, like the robot. Looking at him right here, he's pretty fucking badass.
Yeah, nice and clear. Yeah. Death Raider's a little blurry on purpose. Yeah. And at first I'm like, dude, what'd you do to Death Raider? And then the more I looked at it, I'm like, oh yeah,
it's playing with focal length. Adding that. Adding a little bit of effect. Not too much. But again, it's
focus.
Yeah, it's a synergy of all things. It's everything. If it doesn't contribute to the storytelling, leave it out. Whether that's writing, artwork, whatever, colors. Everything must contribute to the storytelling. It must add to and enhance. Otherwise, it's a hindrance.
Yeah, if it starts distracting, then someone's not doing their job. They're trying to do a little too much. So
yeah. I mean, and working when you're just working by yourself, doing your own thing, like I am, like one, just me, everything's got to add to it.
And every once in a while, someone will be like, "Dude, what are you doing? You got to stop.
You always got to have somebody on the outside to give you some eyes. Always got to have somebody to give a once over with a critical eye and be like, yo, everything looks good except for like this thing over here. What is that? Or read through the story and give you point stuff out. That's what editors are supposed to do. They're supposed to like take what you've given and then polish it and get rid of the kind of take down some of the rough edges and polish it up to a beautiful shine. They're not supposed to completely fucking rework shit. I don't know. But you have to have competent editors. A competent editor is worth their weight in gold.
It's also a confident editor.
A competent, yes, exactly.
Confident, and there's got to be a trust between the editors and the creators. And I don't know if that really happens anymore. I don't know how many editors can go to a creator and go, I like this, but you've gone off the deep end. I don't think that happens really anymore. I think maybe that happens with the editors in chief, the guys who initially courted an artist or a writer to get over to the company, and then quickly they get busy with other things, and then they get forgotten, and then it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
So. I mean, there's still some cool stuff out there. I don't want to be down on comics, because I love comics. I love comic books, and I still love some of the stuff Marvel and DC do. It just they all should be good for what they have and what the branding they have and the company they are and the company that's behind them and the amount of history that they have. There shouldn't be just dog shit books.
Yeah, there should be a lot more. Then there should be more books that are good than there are not. But I think that would require paring down a lot of the line. They put an exorbitant amount of product out onto the shelves, and it takes up a lot of shelf space in a small shop.
That's the idea.
Yeah. No, I know. Thanks for the extra copies of Iceman that didn't sell. Very much appreciate that. I'm sure they are still sitting in the back of that shop. Maybe holding up a bookshelf now. Appreciate that, guys. Didn't
Iceman.
Yeah, didn't ask. Don't need them. Go fuck yourself. Yep.
You know what?
I don't work there anymore, so.
The worst thing is when they publish a Wolverine miniseries where nothing happens, and you're like, "Do you understand what Wolverine's supposed to be? What are you doing?"
Yeah. Well, and see, that's why the creative types, that's why the people that really love comics have moved, over here into this indie sphere. And if you look at the history of comics, there's always been an indie sphere. Take it easy, Tank. Thanks for coming to hang out, man. We're actually going to be
Later,
wrapping this
dude.
up here. I have another one at 9 with Luke
Oh,
Stone,
damn.
and I got to get prepared for that. But I just want to leave everybody with this. There's always been an indie sphere. Indie comics has always picked up whenever the mainstream, whatever that mainstream is at the time, decides that they're not going to listen to the fans and start creating crap. You know?
Yep.
And then if you notice, all the people that were in the indie sphere, like back in like the 90s and the 2000s, they all got swept up into the, you know, the mainstream, and they made some really cool shit with those mainstream, you know, and now it's back to, you know, everybody's going back to the indie sphere because that's where the passion is. You know, it's a cycle. So indie's where it's at. I mean,
Oh, yeah, dude, definitely.
It's at, but,
Oh, yeah. 27
guys,
years.
hit the link.
Now I'm here in Indy.
Go check out this campaign. Sign up. You get a card with a backing, and
Exclusive card. It'll be a card no one else gets. If you
you go
along with the sign up, it'll be a card no one else will be able to get. It's good. So if you know, depending on how many people sign up, whatever it is, if it's 1,000, if it's 750, if it's 400, if it's 50,000, that's it. That's how many cards will be of that.
Ooh.
I haven't even decided. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a Death Raider card, but I haven't decided on the exact specifics.
You know it's going to be a cool image.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. So.
All right, guys. Well, I want to thank all of you for hanging out. I appreciate you being here. Rob, this has been a blast, man. You'll have to come back and we'll talk comics again, man.
Dude, comics.
I'll send you a link for Topic List tomorrow. You can come hang out and draw with us if you like, if you're available.
Maybe tomorrow's Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I might drop in, be a pain in the butt.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you so much for coming to hang out, and remember,
Shop smart, shop S-Mart.